Clerk Paul, can we call the committee hold to order, please?
Lennon,
Here.
Woywood,
Here.
Leisha,
Here.
Fate,
Here.
Pabon,
Here.
Ruiz,
Here.
Arenella,
Here.
Carmichael.
Here.
8 present, Mayor.
Okay, the only thing we have on the open agenda tonight is the 2020, the agenda says 21, it's the 2020 CAFR, which is the Annual Comprehensive Report. Ben Daish, our Finance Director. You want to introduce your guests?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen.
Ben, is your mic on?
Hello.
Okay.
Is it okay for me to? Yeah. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are presenting the comprehensive annual financial report. Before we do so, I'd like to introduce our John Wasaki, our partner with GW and Associates. He will get into the report in the single audit as well. But before we go any further, I would like to present to you Dana Amal. She is at the next council session. She is going to be appointed as the new Assistant Finance Director. We're very excited to have Dana with the team, and look forward to much success. So with that being said, we'll get into the report, and to look at the overview, we are going to get into the highlights to focus in on. As you know, it's a 180-page report, I believe. So I wanted to focus in on the key areas. We'll also talk further about the general fund and the summary analysis, as well as talk further about the single audit summary, and then leave the floor open to any questions. So the annual comprehensive report for 2020, the items that I want to focus in on is the general fund and the utility fund. First, the general fund on page 32 through 34. The city at year-end 2020 was able to maintain its fund balance at $11.6 million, which exceeds the 16% policy by a strong amount, and this occurred despite the COVID-related revenue downturn, which we'll get into further. This did result in a negative change in fund balance of $763,000. Again, we'll talk further about the general fund, but I want to talk further about the utility fund, where we continue to see improvement, especially in its operating income. Its operating income, and this is on page 36 and 37. We posted a year-end $1.7 million in operating income for the utility fund in 2020. This built upon the improvement of 2019 of $1 million. This improvement is attributed primarily to the user-based structure that covers our rates for 2018 through 2022. Those rates allow to absorb the rising expenditures and keeping up our water and sewer system. It also comes as a result of effective expense management. These much improved 2020 and 2019 operating income will play a key role in the city's efforts to address future improvements needed for the city's aging infrastructure. So with that being said, I'd like to change over to the general fund. And focus in on this table. It lays out the revenue, expenses, and net change in fund balances for the audit years 2019, 2020, And we've mapped that out, comparing it to the budget in 2020, as well as presenting the 2021 budget. The one area to focus in on is the variance that the audited 2020 column for revenues. The COVID-19 pandemic impacted the city's revenues especially with the shelter-in-place restrictions. That impacted our revenues. Our revenues were down from the budget by over $2.1 million. The city was able to manage its expenses and reduce its expenditures by $1.4 million, but indeed, the lost revenues did have a financial impact. We're encouraged that the impact was not as severe as we had feared about a year ago. But needless to say, our revenues were down from what we had expected in 2000 prior to the pandemic. Now, it's very important to note that the federal government passed a stimulus bill in March of earlier this year, and part of the city was allocated over $32 million in the American Recovery Program funds. Now, part of the funding that the city was allocated can allow the city to recover for the lost revenues of 2020. So we're encouraged to see that there can be relief that to absorb the loss that we had in 2020. For our newer aldermen, I wanted to talk about the fund balances. Our city policy requires that a 16% fund balance be maintained. Now that is 16% of the following year's budgeted expenditures. And as you can see, right below ending fund balance, our percentages are strong, well above the 16% threshold. They're actually over 20% for the audit 2019-20, and so far in 2021, we are seeing our revenue and expenses overall slightly better than what we had projected in 2021. We projected a modest negative net change of $365,000. So far, we're seeing strong results posted in our revenues and our expenses that are slightly better than budget thus far. So with that being said, I'd like to present John Wasaki, who's going to make some further comments about our annual report, as well as talk further about the single audit. John?
I just want to very briefly highlight a few things in the report here. First of all, on page 9 is the independent auditor's report. And I like to point out that in here we indicate that the report itself is management's responsibility. We assist in the preparation of it, but that's kind of a non-audit service that we provide. But really what we're doing in doing the audit is we're testing the information in the report to make sure that it's materially correct and that it's got all of the proper disclosures and information required by the proper accounting principles. And so then we give our opinion, which is that yes, indeed, based on our testing, we believe the information is materially correct in accordance with the proper accounting principles. After the independent auditor's report is the management discussion and analysis, and that's the section of the report prepared by management, and it's just kind of a little narrative explanation of some of the information within the report. Then after that, on page 30, we start with the statement of net position. And so on page 30 and 31, those statements are what we call the government-wide statements. And the statement of net position includes not only the current assets and liabilities, but the long-term assets and liabilities as well. So it includes all the capital assets like infrastructure, buildings, streets, and so forth, equipment. And it also includes the long-term debt, bonds, pension, and so forth. After that, starting on page 32, is what we call the governmental fund statements. And that is a presentation more along the lines of how you budget. It's got the general fund and a column for each of the major funds, basically, the more significant funds, and then a total column that, a combining column that shows all the non-major funds. And more information on those non-major funds can be found towards the back of the report, where there's a schedule that shows what is included in that. But this presentation then just shows current assets and current liabilities. You'll notice there's no long-term debt, there's no capital assets on the governmental fund statements. Then it goes on to show the proprietary funds, that's business type activities like utilities funds, parking garage. We have the notes to the financial statements that provides a great deal of detail on the various accounts. After that is some required supplementary information that shows budget to actual information. Also shows some pension schedules. And then beyond that, even more budget to actual information and a great deal of additional detail. So it kind of goes in the report from summary to tremendous detail as you go along. And the other two much smaller reports, one is this stapled letter, and this is just a required communication with City Council that I'm required by auditing standards to present each year. And it talks about some of the significant accounting policies, talks about significant estimates. I'm required to say whether or not we had any difficulties in performing the audit, which we did not, or if we had any disagreements with management, which fortunately we did not. And then it also includes all of our audit adjustments attached in the back of that report. And then after that is the single audit report. And what that is a report related to your expenditures of federal awards. If you spend over $750,000 during a year in federal awards, you have to have what they call a single audit. So the first report in this package is a independent auditor's report on internal control of financial reporting. And we had one finding, which I'll get into in a couple minutes on that. And then the next report is the independent auditor's report on compliance for the major federal programs. We had no findings with regard to that. On page 5 is a schedule of expenditures of federal awards. That breaks down all the federal programs that you receive money from and spent during the year. Overall, you spent close to $2 million of federal funds during the year. And what we had to do is we had to determine a major programs that we're going to audit of this funding. And the major program that we audited this year was the CARES Act money. On page 7 starts the schedule of findings and questions and costs. Like I mentioned, there were no findings related to the federal spending, but we had one item related to controls over financial reporting. And this is not uncommon. It's a finding we end up writing for a number of governments. Basically, if there are significant audit adjustments, we recommend maybe some improvements in internal controls over financial reporting. And I think with COVID this year and just the complexity of governmental accounting and staffing issues, this, like I say, is pretty common that a number of governments receive this finding. But in the very last page then is a corrective action plan that management puts together indicating what they're going to do to remediate that finding. And it seems like steps have already been taken as far as hiring an assistant finance director, which should be helpful in that. Are there any questions about any of this? I know I went through it quickly.
Questions? I see none, John.
Okay, thank you.
Ben?
Just to sum up what John was talking about with the signal audit communication, in 2019, we had three findings. We were able to make improvements in 2020, where we had one finding. Obviously, throughout the pandemic, it was a challenge from a staffing standpoint for both the 2019 and 2020 audits. But of course, being able to hire Dana as our assistant finance director, we are definitely encouraged to improve upon that even more and resolve this finding altogether. So we thank you for your attention during this presentation, and we'd like to open the floor to any questions you might have.
Alderman, any questions? If you do have questions over the next week or so, couple of weeks, give Ben a call at the office. They'll be happy to answer whatever questions you do have as you kind of read through this a little more and decipher it a little more. What he's given you is basically a summary. There's a lot of hard work that goes into this CAFR, and it's really difficult to understand, especially those of us that don't have the accounting background, but they can easily explain it, at least in layman's terms. So, right, Ben? Layman's
Yes.
terms? Okay.
Yes, very much.
Can I just ask one question,
Yes.
Mayor and Ben? Have conversations started regarding the $31 million?
Yes.
Will we
We're
get
gonna
a
bring
report on how that
We're
would
going
be
to bring a
utilized?
report to council.
Okay.
Right now, what we're addressing is some of those lost revenues that Ben referred to in his report.
Is that the 2 million or the 700,000?
Well, we got 16 million so far out of the 31 million.
No, but I'm saying the deficit that you're referring to, is that the $2 million deficit or the
That's the
$700,000?
That's
Yeah.
the 700,000.
Okay.
The
Yeah.
2 million was overall.
Right.
What he calculated, but that's the 700,000 for the 2020 period, 763, I think it
Right.
was.
Yeah.
So we've addressed that with the ARPA money that we can use for lost revenues in some of the areas where we couldn't do certain things. For example, the roof at the police department, which needed to be done, we didn't have the revenue, so we couldn't do it. A couple other items. So Ruth is putting together a summary of everything for us, so that we'll give you guys a report once we're able to get a little closer to where we're at with all that.
So we already got, I know we got the 16,000, so when is the other
16
half
million.
expected? I'm sorry, 16 million.
When's the
When
other
is
half coming, Ruth?
expected?
This spring of next year.
2022?
So,
Okay.
yeah, we've already started to identify different things, but before we start any projects, the county has provided a consultant, for any questions regarding the use. We wanna make sure that however we use it, it is not questioned by the federal government when an audit comes. So we're just trying to be extra careful that whatever we do choose does qualify. So that's what I'm doing right now. I've reached out to some of our congressmen just to see if they have anyone from the Treasury, to answer some of those questions. We've already worked with a consultant from the county, and we've also had some financial advisors looking at it. So I just want to make sure that whatever we do is not questioned when an audit is done at the end of this. Like, for instance, they just audited the CARES just to make sure everything was correct. We like to make sure that all of our T's are crossed, I's dotted.
In the beginning, there were a lot of questions because the guidelines weren't very straightforward. As we get further along, we get better and better guidance. The county person was giving us good guidance, but now we're at a level where there's probably like 2 or 3 questions I think we had at the last department.
I'm almost done with everything,
Yeah,
but
that we still have to get solid answers before we expend that money in those projects.
Is there a reporting criteria with that, or is it just a?
there's
Yeah.
lots of reports.
We-
So that's why, I'm gonna be working directly with Ben and with Dana. Dana's gonna be helping a lot with the reporting. She has a, background in grants, so that will definitely help, and. so
We had
We have been working closely
yeah.
together, and we will continue because spending for this goes all the way to 2024.
Yeah,
And there are quarterly reports, and we've already done one.
correct. There was a report we had to submit already August 31st, so, yes.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, thank you. I have nothing else for the committee of the whole. Is there any questions on the agenda before we adjourn? Okay, hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by Lennon, second by Ruiz to adjourn the committee of the whole. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. See you back at 8 o'clock.
Okay, Jim, I'm gonna, I'll call you back at about 5 to 8, okay?
Sounds good, thank you.
Sure. You drive around with them? Oh, thank you.
All right, we'll check my mail, I guess.
The office door's open, so you can go
I got
into
a key.
Sandy's.
Thank you.
Are you going down for now?
Yes.
No, I'll follow you, because I actually have a question for parking. They were
Parking?
pretty long line.
No, there should be no.
Well, there wasn't a-
she had to keep quiet, but wow, she knew, oh, that's.
Yeah, so find your issue of the monthly magazine and check out the story, because what else could go wrong? Well, the township is crazy because, even though the U.S. Treasury identified townships as being eligible for ARPA funds, there's a little glitch in state law that won't allow townships to have distribution. And so over the last legislative period, they're supposed to correct that. And we've had a change in the township lobbyists have changed. We have a new executive director. I don't know what's going on. He's not really keeping us informed about our possible. But anyway, at the township level, we, the health district sent a communication to the township, which is crazy because you know, this so enmeshed with each other, telling them, get prepared because we're going to ask you for an intergovernmental agreement to give us some ARPA funds that you can slide over, because we're doing COVID testing now, and with that all will be free. We have free flu shots. We have, of course, now we're doing a huge number of people my age getting their booster shots. And then next month, kids as young as 6 will be eligible for COVID. And so we could actually use another part-time nurse on staff that also involves. Yes. Yeah, you just call and make an appointment, and they can give you. In fact, I'm getting my booster, my flu shot at the same time on Thursday. Yeah. Or, maybe I'll have the third eye on Friday. Come down and see me, because Sandy's off, and I certainly will be in the office. If I'm dragging around, or my all 3 eyes are, check me out. But it's okay. I mean, there's of course a period of time in transition, and we just hired someone to help us with grant writing, and that should be helpful, so that we can, if and when we get ARPA funding, we can keep track of it. This month has been horrible. We're averaging about 20 new COVID cases a day. And unfortunately, we had 4 COVID deaths. So this was our 5th highest COVID death month since the whole thing started. So it's not been good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we're still not at, so they divide us up into the number of unvaccinated, people with 1 dose and people with 2. And so we fall at about 6, maybe the high 60 percentile for people with at least 1 dose. And then we drop a little bit for people who are, have bad doses. So, but there's, with the help of these 2 organizations, they were doing door knocking for us. We also have a door-to-door service. I mean, what more can we give people? We have our nurses that go out with the paramedics and vaccinate homeowners people. And then the paramedic will stay outside for the 15 district for the 708 mental health board and for the general assistance. And they've always been encouraging me to go on the portal. For the longest time, they were locked out. They were all working at home, so you couldn't file in person. So I have this report that's, the treasurer's report in the paper, is due by September 30th. So I filed, and then I went to file the township, and I don't have it. The screen is wiped clean. There are no reports, and it shows that the Berwyn Township doesn't exist, and we've never filed a thing. So I left messages, I sent emails. Finally, I called him, I got a live person in the office today, and he said, and I said, what am I supposed to do? And he goes, whoa, this sounds like a vendor problem. You'll have to contact the vendor. And I said, can I come down tomorrow and file these papers? Because I don't think it's I need someone with your stamp on it to show that I did this by the 30th. So my appointment is tomorrow at 9 o'clock. It's like, wait, it's a vendor problem. This is not going to be resolved by the 30th. You'll be lucky if it'll be next September. And they said, well, have you ever filed reports for before? And I said, we have for about 50 years. We've been filing these reports. So yeah, in June I filed the last report, so at least I have backup to show that this township actually existed. And here's a screenshot of what your page looked like in June. So what happened? Fun times. All right, Jeff. Hey, good seeing you. Take care.
I do, because I'm so literate and I say a lot of wrong things, so I'm not gonna always have fun.
Yep.
So that's what I really miss. He's like, you know, when I have on when you're early, he's like, thank you. I don't know. He's thinking that your sister has two exes. She has a couple of years older than she needs. So she's I'm gonna send this guy a really put it back in his lane. Oh, the plate on the light post.
Yes, I think so. He said the
I was even more mad today when he sent me that, and I'm like, you don't even live in my real life, like, dude, get out of my
maybe it was.
Okay, well, yeah.
Okay,
Apparently.
I'm not eavesdropping, excuse me, I just wanted to tell you something.
You don't ever have to wait, sir.
I just, I didn't get to that, but you had to do it when I did water.
I can look for it,
Could you, yes, please,
Yeah.
okay? So I can find the file.
Okay.
And make this one.
Okay.
I'll have it for the next time.
Absolutely,
And
thank you.
call me before.
Okay, I appreciate it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, I'm sorry.
Oh, please.
was good. It was really good. Revitalizing downtown, which so I just wrote.
Any downtown or Chicago downtown?
Well, it was Andy. So the guys that do the presentation came from. So,
Works and,
yeah, we're small, right. And I looked around on my side, there's all the roofs, the air conditioners that are just.
so they have to be running all over.
Can you imagine? This time I'm gonna be there. Just because.
For the next meeting. They can't have a special one?
Well, they took it, but
They've already done it. Oh, but they have to publish it.
I don't think they will.
But did they stick the notice on everybody's door? Because they're supposed to be able to,
What do you mean on everybody's?
on that block. Yeah, that's how some individuals have shown up to press meetings, because they received the notice. Right, and comment on it. Oh, okay, so you're defining it?
So you heard about that, right?
What's that?
The thing up here on top. This?
Yeah, I heard about it.
Oh, okay. So it'll be off.
So,
We can get rid of these. I don't think so. If we're mad.
Tag, you're it. Tag, you're it. You were trying to call me and then. I'm good, how are you?
Name here?
I mean, I could always ask.
I have it, sorry.
Oh, you found it?
Yeah, I didn't want you to.
Yeah, that was, oh, you're probably right. You're probably right. No, you're right. It's probably the very next one after that one. I bet you it was the meeting after the end of April. Oh,
Wait,
here it is.
yes.
Here it is.
Okay. You know what? Kelly's never wrong. Okay. That's why I have her there, because she's never wrong. That's it.
So, but,
Okay, so I can get that from Sandy tomorrow,
okay,
and then we'll go ahead.
okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay.
We have 4 eyes looking. Thank you, I appreciate that.
Alrighty. Whoops. Stop.
Hello?
Hi, Jim, it's Marge. You ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Yes, thank you. And Rob, I was able to print out your certificate. They just get harder and more confusing.
Okay. Oh, that's your strap. Okay, no, you're good. Like, what is that? That's a, green. That's just a clip. Please file. I think. No, that's just distract you a little bit. Take your mind off all this.
Clerk Paul, can we call the council meeting to order?
Lennon.
Here.
Roywood.
Here.
Leisha.
Here.
Fate.
Here.
Pabon.
Here.
Ruiz.
Here.
Aranella.
Here.
Carmichael.
Here.
8 present, Mayor.
Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance and please remain standing? I pledge allegiance
To the flag, the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's keep in our thoughts and prayers the family of Irma Manfredini, who has recently passed away. She is the mother of police officer Giordano Manfredini, fire officer Mario Manfredini, as well as grandmother to many. Also keep in our thoughts and prayers the men and women we have on the street tonight. Thank you. If anybody wishes to address the open forum, please step forward to the swinging gate. State your name and address, please.
Hello.
If you're speaking at the mic, you can say it.
Okay, there you go. Hi, everyone. My name is Oswaldo Alvarez, and I am the Executive Director of Chicago Workers Collaborative. And I am here with our Public Health Programs Coordinator, Esta Hernandez, who is a resident of Berwyn.
Hola, buenas noches a todos. Mi nombre es Esta Hernández. Yo soy coordinadora del programa de salud del Condado de Sur y hemos estado trabajando solucionando
Hi, my name is Esta Hernandez. I am a resident of Berwyn. I coordinate the public health programs here in Berwyn, and we've been promoting vaccination. Just as a quick, Chicago Workers Collaborative, we are a nonprofit. We are based in Chicago. We operate from Chicago, from Waukegan, from Elgin, and we work with what is called the precarious worker. The precarious worker is any worker who legally cannot unionize and legally cannot claim any kind of unemployment benefits, for example. That is a very large percentage of the Latino community, people who work in staffing firms and in gig jobs, from Uber to what have you. And what we do is we create programming that is builds a safety net for them. We have legal immigration services, we have community resources, we have adult education, and most recently we have a public health department. The public health department, we have been working with adults all throughout to connect them first with PPE materials and now with vaccination, information on vaccination. Thanks to Mayor Lavero, recently we came here to the city of Berwyn, and this was August 26th, and since then we have helped 645 Berwyn residents get vaccination. So I'm here to thank you all for all of your support and to introduce ourselves to you all. If you have any kind of questions about who the precarious worker is, where do they live, where do they work, we are more than happy to connect you with them. This is a very, very large percentage of many people. So thank you so much again for this.
And a big thanks also goes out to our health district because you're working with them in collaboration for those vaccinations.
That's right, yeah. We were at Tony's not long ago, getting with a vaccine pod, and we were offering free tacos and get your vaccine. So that is, it is that kind of grassroots campaign that we need to do. This is the reason why we have someone like Estrellita, someone from Berwyn, who tells us where are these laundromats and where should we go to make sure that people get connected to resources.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Muy buenas noches. Mi nombre es Mónica Márquez. A nombre de Erie House quiero dar las gracias a la ciudad de Berwyn por el gran apoyo que nos ofrece para compartir nuestros recursos con sus residentes. Durante el mes de septiembre hemos abordado a más de 200 personas dando información de beneficios públicos como tarjeta médica, link, nutrición, desalojos, así como el apoyo legal a la comunidad. El estar bajo la carpa informativa de la ciudad anima a las personas a preguntar o acercarse para saber en qué está trabajando la ciudad y así tener una mejor conexión con los residentes. Muchas gracias a cada uno de ustedes por hacer esto posible, sobre todo gracias a Claudia Ayala por la coordinación de estos eventos y gracias por el apoyo incondicional que nos brindan. Gracias.
That's fine. Mhm.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to address the, yes?
Buenas noches, mi nombre es Rubí Bautista, trabajamos para SGA Youth and Family Service, nuestra compañía.
I'm sorry, could you please repeat your name again? I missed it.
Rubí Bautista,
Thank you.
trabajamos para SGA Youth and Family Services. Somos un programa sin fines de lucro, es totalmente gratuito nuestro programa. Trabajamos con niños de 0 a 3 años de edad y mamás embarazadas. Somos 3 años trabajando en las áreas de Berwyn City y todo esto. Ahorita vamos a trabajar en colaboración con la señora Claudia, que nos está ayudando también en esta área, y es un servicio totalmente gratuito para todas las familias.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Angeles Gama. I work for SGA Youth and Family Services. We are providing services for pregnant women, for children from 0 to 3 years old. We do the questionnaires to assess like early intervention in order to help them. So we are covering a lot of community. So I want to thank you all for the support because we have been able to reach several families.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello there. My name is Tanya Hart, and I live at 1842 Kyler. I've been there for the last 20 years. Last time I was here, I was speaking to you about Berwyn's rat infestation. I was frustrated not only with my rat problem, but, therefore Berwyn's rat problem, but also the considerable amount of time and energy it took to get conversations started with the city and energize its services. I still have considerable frustrations of rat sightings in my yard and around my home. But if you remember from last time, one of the things I spoke about that I was very much interested in was organizing alley cleanups. I thought that was essential to abatement for the rats. And to maintain that cleanup and rat abatement with the installation of large enamel signs in the alleys that communicated that clothes, garbages, and alley weed cleanup are imperative to rodent control. And I was interested in seeing them in several languages, and so you could also see them from the car, and accessible font and color for easily readable material. And I'm sure because we have a sign department that they'll be able to advise on what the protocol or FDA or whatever the regulations are. And to the city's effort, Joe at Awesome Pest Control is a hardworking guy and does communicate with us as we put in complaints and has put up signs, but I have to say that they're half a page, they're in English, they're on pink paper with red or pink font, and they are a nice effort but hardly noticeable. It's very difficult to see, and they'll fade really easily. And I've only seen them in my alley, but that's not why I'm here today. What I want to do is turn up the volume of what happened this weekend. And this weekend was really different for me. I was able to participate with a group that was quickly galvanized to help each other clean up and identify issues that surround rat infestations by the means of an alley cleanup day on Saturday, like removing debris from overflowing garbage cans, removing garbage left by waste management, and the removal of overgrown weeds, identifying rat burrows. There were several of them. Some of them were really large. And informing residents and strategies how to combat the rats. For instance, steel wool, Brillo pads in burrow openings, but also sprinkling iodized salt where the weeds were removed to stunt the weed growth and make it less hospitable for rats to burrow. As well, there was something so impressive that happened that day that I gotta say it, and it's pretty gross. When we were identifying where and what they feed on, one of the most shocking things that we happened upon was a 50-gallon rubberized open garbage can full of dog feces. Absolutely full. It was a basic buffet for rats, and it had a faded waste management ticket on it, which, you know, not even as brave as I am, I couldn't get close enough to actually read the date on it. I'm just going to leave that for someone else. And this should have really been dealt with well before it was even quarter full, and either by waste management communicating with the homeowner, the city. It is now a really big danger to everybody, and that's gone on too long. But back to the weekend, it was really amazing. It was organized alley cleanup by Alderman Pabon with help from the community residents like me, but several kids from the Lincoln School youth fulfilling their community service, and what hard workers they were. It was amazing. Alderman Carmichael was there, Alderperson Arnella was there. And this was an alley that was 20 buildings on either side, 3 flats, which made it even more, harder in a lot. But it was done in less than 2 hours. This lifted my heart, and my hope that Berwyn can continue to help each other out with this health crisis. And I believe that there's even another one going to happen this weekend, which I'm excited, believe it or not, to see this progress. It's really amazing. And even though it's disgusting to clean up alleys, and not only that, other people's stuff, it's just, hard to do. It's a necessary evil now because it's just overrun with rats. But that's what's going to make a safe place to live. So I want to urge the City Council to support in the reconstituting of the ad hoc rat abatement committee in guiding the city of Berwyn to enact equitable, proactive plan that communicates with community with measurable accountability and rodent eradication. And again, public safety is public health, and thank you very much for listening. I appreciate it.
And I've spoken with Alderman Pavone. I gave him another suggestion for somebody from the health department because I've been meeting with them regarding picking up the program. And one of the gentlemen that works there has been real active in doing surveys around the neighborhood and the businesses. So I gave that name to Alderman Pabon to add to his ad hoc committee, because I think with the collaboration between the city and the health district, we should be able to see some gains in this. But Alderman, if you have that address of the one she talked to with that, please give me that address, okay?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the attention.
Anybody else for open forum?
Hi, Luz Chavez, 16th and Ridgeland. So to the Mayor and Council, as Suicide Prevention Month comes to an end, I would like to ask us all to continue to keep in our thoughts all who have died of suicide, have lost a loved one to suicide, and have struggled with suicide ideation themselves. To learn more and talk to a crisis counselor available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, please visit suicidepreventionlifeline.org, suicidepreventionlifeline.org. Excuse me. I am also here because 2 weeks ago, I was deeply disturbed to learn that the person who you, Mayor Lavero, wanted to appoint as deputy police chief was involved in a violent incident in 2016 when responding to a call about a possible suicidal resident. Responding to a suicidal person requires training, patience, and sound judgment. According to the Police Executive Research Forum's training guide on this issue, officers should be aware that pointing a gun at a potentially suicidal person will increase his or her anxiety and exacerbate the situation. Pointing a firearm elevates the subject's level of anxiety and can make it impossible to communicate with the person. Police psychologist Dr. John Nicoletti states, if an officer says, "I'm here to help you," but is pointing a firearm at the suicidal person, it's conflicting messages, and people will always believe the nonverbal message. According to the Illinois Department of Public Health's guide, officers should address any serious medical needs first, and if not equipped to handle mental health issues, involve somebody who is, such as a mental health clinician or crisis intervention worker. It also says to establish rapport with the person, listen carefully, and speak with the person in a non-confrontational manner. However, this guidance doesn't seem to have been followed during that violent 2016 incident involving now Deputy Police Chief Guy Papa. The residents sued Papa, the city of Berwyn, and other Berwyn police officers. In Papa's answer to the complaint filed by his lawyer at Delgado Law Group, Papa admitted to doing the following. I'm submitting both training guides that I just cited along with the legal document. This, I'm reading directly from Guy Papa's legal response to the complaint. So page 3, paragraph 12. Defendants informed plaintiff that they received a 911 call about an attempted suicide. Papa admits the allegations contained in paragraph number 12. Paragraph 7, defendant officers broke through plaintiff's locked back porch door on the ground floor. Papa admits the allegations contained in paragraph number 7. Paragraph 9, Papa admits defendant officers had their weapons drawn. Paragraph 20, Papa admits that he deployed his taser at plaintiff. Paragraph 21, Papa admits that as a result of the tase, plaintiff fell to the ground. Paragraph 23, Papa admits he deployed his taser a second time. These are Papa's own admissions filed in a court of law. The lawsuit was settled for $50,000 according to approved city minutes dated October 24th, 2017. I also have a copy of those minutes. 1 year later, you, Mayor Lavero, appointed Papa to Berwyn Police Division Commander, according to approved city minutes dated December 26, 2018, also in my packet. So to briefly recap, Guy Papa admitted to showing up arms drawn to a suicidal subject's home and proceeded to tase him twice, actions that taxpayers paid a $50,000 lawsuit settlement for, and actions that you, Mayor Lavero, responded by appointing him division commander 1 year later. Those are facts based on legal documents. Those are facts I listed in a social media post I shared. According to today's council agenda and council packet, in a few minutes you, Mayor Lavero, will read a letter stating that the post I shared has misinformation, false allegations, and a mischaracterization of Papa. I supported each detail in that post with legal evidence. You are the lawyer here. Yet in the letter you plan on reading tonight, you present zero evidence. You didn't even bother to state when, where, or by whom Papa was supposedly cleared. Your letter is full of vague and sensationalist language to do, in my opinion, 3 things. To continue your attack on social media, similar to how Trump yelled fake news for 4 years. To continue to use city council meetings to spin your false narratives like the letter you will read tonight. To continue to attempt to discredit the people, bringing transparency to the patronage and corruption you try to hide. In fact, it should surprise no one that according to the Illinois Sunshine's database of political contributions, exactly 2 days after the last council meeting when you appointed Papa deputy police chief, and before today's meeting where you will appoint new members of the police pension board, the Berwyn Police Union donated $4,000 to you, Mayor. Your letter, your words do nothing but deflect from the real issues with your administration. Berwyn deserves better.
Thank you. Anybody else for open forum?
I know that there's been some consistent information available about harms that have been done by D100, by police department, people who've been promoted. Also a lack of addressing health issues by the city council. And so I'd ask that the people who are in power here, the mayor, city council, I see that police chief's here, usually thinking about D100 school board meeting that just happened, that like you take up your responsibility to have accountability when people within those systems harm others, because there's legal documents and then there's the damage that's done because a community member was hurt. And that hurts the community. So I'd really ask people to really think about how to take that up and work to do less harm.
Excuse me,
I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank on your name.
Oh, you know what? I forgot to say it. My name's Jenna Musselman Palace. I'm in the 3rd Ward. I'm on 2243 Euclid.
Thank you. Anybody else? Alderman, anything for open forum?
Mayor, I'd like to make a correction to my town hall meeting. Last council meeting, I stated it would be on Monday, October 4th, I believe, at La Parra. It's been rescheduled to Thursday, October 7th, happening at Lincoln Middle School from 6:30 to 8 p.m.
Okay. Anybody else? Just, you didn't push it out. Okay, here.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to go along and recognize with the Hispanic Heritage Month, and just wanted to make a statement that of all the importance of the contributions that Latinos across the country have made, not only in the country but also to here in the city of Berwyn. I want to recognize all the amazing small businesses, the homeowners, the athletes, the students here in Berwyn who make our city so vibrant and an amazing place to live. And all those amazing contributions that they've made over history to our country, but also here locally to enrich these new diverse suburbs that, as you see, as the demographics shift, it brings tremendous vibrancy to our city. And just want to recognize those amazing contributions made by the amazing teachers and police officers, firemen, people that are working in the city, people working in non-for-profits, people working in non-violence prevention programs that make incredible contributions not only to our city but to our country.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Just one more thing. I forgot to mention that I'm having a fall festival event in the 6th Ward, and I'm partnering with District 98 School and also the Combined Veterans of Berwyn. We're hosting a community event that will be around, obviously, fall/Halloween. There'll be pumpkin decorating, costume contest, and such. All are welcome to attend. That's going to be Saturday, October 16th at Lincoln Middle School parking lot from 2 to 4 p.m.
Okay. Any other items for open forum? Okay, hearing none. Item C1, please.
Item C1 are the minutes of the Committee of the Whole meeting and regular council meeting of September 14th, 2021.
I will make a motion to approve the Committee of the Whole and regular City Council meeting minutes of September 14th.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Fay, to approve the Committee of the Whole and regular council minutes of September 14th, 2021. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item D1, please.
Item D1 is a communication from Police Chief Semaglia regarding the Police Department roof project bid results.
I move that we concur with the Berwyn Police Department on accepting the lowest qualified bidder from the sealed bidding process and choose Olson Roofing in the amount of $175,000 for the Berwyn Police Department roof replacement job, and direct the corporate authorities to sign the contract.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Lennon, to concur with the recommendation and approve the low bidder of Olson Roofing in the amount of $175,000 to repair the roof from the Berwyn Police Department and direct the corporate authorities to execute the contract. All those in favor on the call of the roll.
Lennon?
Aye.
Roywood?
Aye.
Leisure?
Aye.
Fate?
Aye.
Pabon?
Aye.
Ruiz?
Aye.
Arinella?
Aye.
Carmichael?
Aye.
8 ayes, Mayor.
Motion carried. Item F1, please.
Item F1 is a communication from Mayor Lavero congratulating newly appointed Deputy Police Chief Guy Papa.
I move that we accept F1 as informational.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Lennon, to consider informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item F2, please.
Item F2, a communication from the mayor of the Berwyn Police Pension Fund Board appointment.
I move that we concur with Mayor Lavero's appointment of Thomas O'Halloran to the Police Pension Fund Board from September 28, 2021 to September 28, 2024.
Second.
2023.
23.
Oh, Okay, 2023.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Fate, to concur with the appointment of Thomas O'Halloran to the Berwyn Police Pension Fund for a term starting today to September 28th, 2023. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. I keep on forgetting what agenda. F3, please.
F3 is a communication from Mayor Lavero, reappointment to the Police Pension Fund Board of James Swissionis.
I move that we concur with Mayor Robert Lavero's reappointment of James Swissionis to the Police Pension Fund Board from September 28, 2021 to September 28, 2024.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Lennon, to concur with the appointment or reappointment of James Swissionis to the Police Pension Fund for a new 3-year term expiring on September 28, 2024. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item F4, please.
Item F4 is a communication from the mayor, appointment to the Fire Pension Board and Police Pension Board of Treasurer Robert Reyes.
I move that we concur with Mayor Lavero's appointment of Berwyn City Treasurer Robert Reyes as ex officio to the Fire Pension Board from September 28, 2021 to May 28, 2025.
And that would be for both boards. This is both F4 and F5.
Right, but 5 was separate.
So it's
I
fire
thought-
and police.
Should I do that separate or 5 was
You
separate?
could do them all in one, because I put it in one communication.
Okay. I move that we concur with Mayor Lavero's appointment of Berwyn City Treasurer Robert Reyes ex officio to Fire Pension Board and to Police Pension Board from September 28, 2021 to May 28, 2025.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Aaronella, to concur with the appointment of City Treasurer Robert Reyes as an ex officio member of the Fire Pension Board and Police Pension Board from today's date to May 28th, 2025. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item H1, please.
Item H1 is a communication from the Zoning Planning and Development Commission regarding 6925 Riverside Drive.
So I have in my hands the emails that were exchanged between the chairman of the attorney for the Zoning Planning Commission, Lance Molina, and the Sun-Times, showing that the Sun-Times did not publish the notice as they were told they were going to do. They were paid, and apparently there was on hold for some revisions. When the revisions came in, the girl forgot it was on hold, it didn't get published. So Alderman, do you have a motion?
I motion to send 6925 Riverside Drive back to Zoning, Planning, and Development Commission to conduct a hearing for proper notice.
Second.
Motion by Aaronella, seconded by Lennon, to send H1 6925 Riverside Drive back to the Zoning and Planning Commission to conduct a hearing pursuant to proper notice. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
The ayes have it. Item I1, please.
I1 is a communication from Alderman Pabon regarding reconstitution of the ad hoc rat abatement committee.
I move to reconstitute the ad hoc rat abatement committee and have city council approve the committee purpose and appointments as listed.
Second.
Motion by Pabon, seconded by Carmichael, to reconstitute the ad hoc rat abatement committee, along with the purpose of the committee as outlined, as well as the appointments of the persons that he named here and any additional persons you wish to name in the future. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item I2, please.
Item I2 is a communication from Alderman Pabon regarding minutes of the Human Relation Committee.
I move to approve the Human Relations Committee minutes for June 29th, 2021 as informational.
Second.
Motion by Pabon, seconded by Garnella, to consider the minutes from the Human Relations Committee as informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item I3, please.
Item I3 is a communication from the Police and Fire Committee regarding probationary police officer Joseph A. Stransky.
I move that we accept I3 as informational.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Fate to consider I3 informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item I4, please.
Item I4 is a communication from the committee with regard to probationary police officer Michael J. Kraft.
I move that we accept I4 as informational.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Aaronella. I can't tell if there's two voices. Aaronella as informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J1, please.
Item J1 is communication from Police Chief Semaglia, authorization to seek proposals for license plate recognition system.
I move that we concur with Police Chief Michael Semaglia's request to obtain proposals from qualified companies to establish and operate an automated license plate recognition camera system.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Aaronella, to concur with the request of Chief Semaglia and allow him to seek proposals from qualified companies for a automated license plate recognition system. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J2, please.
J2 is a communication from Fire Chief Hayes, permission to contact Police and Fire Commission for the next qualified candidate.
I move that we concur with Fire Chief Thomas Hayes' request to contact the Police and Fire Commission for the hiring of the next qualified candidate on the firefighter/paramedic eligibility list.
Second.
Motion by Leja, seconded by Lennon, to concur with Chief Hayes' request to contact the Police and Fire Commission to recommend the hiring of the next qualified candidate from the eligibility list. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J3, please.
J3 is a communication from Public Works Director Schiller, announcement of a grant award.
I'd like to move that we accept this information, this communication as informational.
Second.
Motion by Ruiz, seconded by Lennon, to consider this communication informational, and thank Senior Engineer Nicole Campbell for the hard work for the grant. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Item J4, please.
Item J4 is a communication from Finance Director Dash regarding the 2020 annual financial report.
I will make a motion to accept this communication as informational.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, seconded by Fate, to consider informational. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. The consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Motion by Lennon, who seconded?
Lisa?
Leja, to accept the consent agenda as presented. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Aldermanic committee meetings. Alderman Lennon.
Call the chair.
Alderman Roywood.
Call the chair.
Alderman Leja.
Call of the chair.
Alderman Fate.
Call the chair.
Alderman Pabon.
Call the chair.
Alderman Ruiz.
Call the chair.
Alderman Aaronella.
Call the chair.
Alderman Carmichael.
Call the chair. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Carmichael, seconded by Lennon. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Thank you.